Have you ever been drawing a character or an illustration and found yourself making the same expressions your character is making? Or just feeling very strongly all of the emotions you're portraying on paper? It's such an interesting phenomenon, and you might not even realize it when you're doing it. Maybe someone has had to tell you, or you only notice it after seeing yourself in a recording. It's one of the many magical quirks of being a human with feelings who enjoys creating art. And this is where this journey started, and it led me down a rabbit hole, which initially just felt kind of interesting to think about, but by the end made me appreciate what we create even more. And after looking into it a bit, it can actually make a lot of sense. Chapter 1. Why do I mimic my drawing's expressions? As humans, our expressions, facial or otherwise, play a big part in how we connect with each other and even with ourselves. And one of the best examples of how that changes our behavior is the chameleon effect. The chameleon effect refers to the non-conscious mimicry of the postures, mannerisms, facial expressions, and other behaviors of one's interaction partners, such that one's behavior passively and unintentionally changes to match that of others in one's current social environment. It's an effect that maybe you haven't heard of before, but you surely know what it is right away, and have probably felt it before too. Going into a room filled with people and readjusting the way you carry yourself to blend in, or to just feel like you belong. It can simply be you empathizing with someone's story or trying to make someone enjoy your company. So it makes sense that if you adjust your expressions, no matter what type or how frequently, when you're working on a drawing for a long period of time, focused on one expression or mood, you're bound to feel something. And I feel this all the time when I'm drawing. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you about it, because throughout the years, art has become something completely different for me. What once was just a fun hobby that I could improve on and have some fun with is now genuinely one of my most effective and cathartic ways of expressing myself. It almost feels like journaling. It's a new way of looking at art that has helped me a lot, and I think it can help you too. In the middle of a really difficult time to be an artist, it might also be a great time to become one. Because what we do is made up of who we are, and we are amazing, complicated creatures filled with unique experiences and stories to tell. Now, when you mirror your drawing's expression, it might be because of a few things. You might be feeling legitimate empathy towards your characters, causing you to mirror them, or you might be feeling a connection to them, because you might be particularly sensitive to the emotions conveyed in your art. Drawing something and spending a long time invested in it can also be a very immersive experience, and your heightened focus can make you do things unintentionally. All in all, you can embody the emotions you are drawing by tapping into a deeper level of creativity and authenticity in your artwork, or you can do it the other way around and project your own emotions onto your drawings. Chapter 2. Where is all the expression? So where is all of this emotion exactly? Well, it can be in the literal expressions of your characters, in the colors you choose, in the stories you tell. It's something we can take for granted, but our choices can really have an impact on how something that's only apparently visual feels. And not just the emotions that come to mind right away, like happiness or sadness. There's emptiness, lightness, dreaminess. They just feel. And this started a long time ago too, even though we have seen expressions being portrayed essentially since we started being creative altogether. A good example of an era that revved itself in feeling and individualism was the Romantic era. Romanticism, a movement that originated in Europe over 200 years ago, had artists focus and truly value the importance of authentically expressing their sentiments and ideas. It was a clear response to the Industrial Revolution, and it advocated for the importance of subjectivity and imagination, amongst other things like nature and the value of culture. They appreciated passion and intuition, and challenged the way we understand the world by seeing beauty as more than something you can create through form, but rather something that evokes a strong emotional response. This is something that has been really lost on us lately, especially in online culture. Just take a look at these paintings made hundreds of years ago. This painting might make you feel small and weak against the overpowering weight of nature. And this one might make you feel the dreariness and hopelessness of the survivors of a raft lost at sea. In certain contexts, a painting can give you hope and strength, or just a feeling of uneasiness and discomfort. And today is no different. There are so many examples of amazing artists making us feel something, from big galleries to small online communities. We can feel peace, happiness, fear. It's truly a power that we all hold through art. And with all forms too, like music, theater, film, writing, drawing, and so on. creativity and self-expression is not bound to any one medium, but it sure seems to be strongly bound to humanity. But before we keep exploring how our emotions shape our creativity, let's take a second to thank today's sponsor, Skillshare. If you're like me and you love to express yourself through creative and fun outlets, you know just how much effort and practice it takes to improve at any particular skill. And that's where today's sponsor comes in. Skillshare is the largest online community for creatives who are looking to improve their skills with the guidance of industry experts in many fields, like illustration, graphic design, writing, photography, music, and more. It's an intuitive and fun space where you can learn at your own pace and even share your own projects and have discussions with the community. And lately, as I've been trying to get outside more and find pressure-free ways of drawing traditionally outside in nature, I've loved to follow along Sarah Byrne's Sketching Nature class. It's always so rewarding to invest your time in learning more about something you're curious about with people who are passionate about it and have been doing it for years. If you want to take your hobbies to the next level, Skillshare also offers learning paths, which will guide you along your journey through curated classes that will help you grow and thrive in any artistic career you want to pursue. So, if you're looking to enhance your skills this summer, come spend time doing what you love, explore the amazing library of classes and creative professionals, and choose the path that feels right for you. Plus, remember that the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. So come check it out and get started today. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Chapter 3. Leaning into your feelings or running away from them. A few months ago, I actually went through something really hard that truly challenged my resilience and made me resurface a lot of unpleasant feelings. It was a big loss, and I found myself setting aside how I felt to help my closest family, who was hurting in ways I can't even express with words. And in the midst of all that, as a freelance artist who doesn't feel it right to stop and take a breath, I kept drawing and posting my work, even if I really wasn't feeling like it. And without realizing it at first, amongst all of that emotion, I created this piece. It's not perfect, and it started off as a random doodle with no clear vision. But it was late at night, I was away from home, and I found myself so numb and hopeless that I legitimately felt like my emotions took control over my body and decisions. I didn't need to think or second guess anything. I just kept going and let everything out. And now, looking back at it, I can almost feel it. It's so sad. I usually try not to share too much of what I'm going through on social media, but this time I opened up a bit, and a lot of you seem to have resonated with it too. These elements are all part of my fears, broken pieces of my past, and I was just wishing for it all to stop. And somehow, it actually did help a lot. Since I had been drawing and posting my work very consistently, I had already started to realize how much I couldn't really run away from how I felt on any given day. Life happens, and if you really want to be consistent with your work, sometimes instead of running away from the big sad waves, you can just ride them and see where they take you. And this piece really solidified that for me. So I started writing all of the waves, including the happy and cheesy ones too. And even though I don't believe that all of our creative output needs to be meaningful and full of expression, I truly believe that it can benefit from it. Not just to connect with other people that might interpret your work and absorb it through their own experience and find their own meaning, but also to take a moment to connect with yourself and go through the motions of our lived experiences, our fears, hopes, and dreams. Now, something that I found really interesting from your feedback on that post I made was this comment. Some of you actually enjoy doing the opposite of riding the wave and instead take your creative hobbies as an opportunity to get out of difficult or painful mindsets by creating works that project better feelings. So you can either use what you feel and let it out on a page, or place down what you want to feel and let it sink in until it changes you. What a wonderful thing. Chapter 4. Using feelings, but from a good place. Now, we can't talk about how self-expression is linked to our experience without mentioning the age-old concept, the tortured artist. I too have been faced with the idea that my struggles are actually what make me a good artist, quote unquote. The idea that somehow your emotional or mental anguish and suffering is what fuels your creativity has been long associated with many artists, such as writers, musicians, and other creative types. It has been romanticized to a point of almost no return through many icons like Vincent van Gogh, Sylvia Plath, and Kurt Cobain. They suffered through life and yet created works of art that have stood the test of time, all revered in their respective fields. So it's not crazy to think that our minds just quickly associated that part of what made their work so expressive and deep with their turmoil and suffering. Was their art just a reflection of their pain, or simply a way to cope with it? The idea that pain makes you good, that you should have massive bursts of creativity with no food, no sleep, just raw creative expression, might seem like a good and inspiring montage on film, but in reality, it can be really toxic and not helpful at all. Maybe that's someone's type of expression, but it sure shouldn't be the only one. Where's the happiness, the joy, the curiosity, the love? We have so much inside of us. Why is it that only the negative stuff can propel us forward? And why can't mental well-being and genuine self-care do the same thing? One of my favorite character arcs ever from television comes from the incredible and heart-wrenching show BoJack Horseman. If you haven't seen it yet, I absolutely recommend it. Amidst an amazing complex story that delves into many tough themes behind the semi-human experience, there is Diane Nguyen. She's a driven and passionate writer whose dream is to climb the ladder of the industry and write an acclaimed book of essays about her life and experiences. We're told the difficult parts of her past and how she struggles and ultimately copes in some ways with depression. When she's going through the darkest stages of her condition, she can't seem to get herself to work on her dream project, and her purpose in life becomes blurry, as fixing herself seems to mean to give up on everything that she has worked on. But things change. She finds herself working as a ghostwriter and starts writing what seems to be just a silly teen book that, with time and help from a loving friend, turns into what she's always dreamed of.
Princess Carolyn, wait! I understand. You're trying to be helpful in your own pushy, self-absorbed way.
Oh, thank you.
But I don't want to write a middle-grade fiction detective series.
I think you do, though. Because when I was reading it, I could tell you were having fun.
Yeah, but I'm not writing a book to have fun. If I don't write my book of essays now, I never will.
So, don't write your book of essays.
I have to.
Why?
Because if I don't, that means that all the damage I got isn't good damage. It's just damage. When I was a little girl, I thought that everything, all the abuse and neglect, it somehow made me special. And I decided that one day I would write something that would make little girls like me feel less alone. And if I can't write that book,
then maybe write this other book. Maybe this book does that too.
Yeah?
Through many well-written seasons filled with the craziest hijinks and also the most deep and devastating scenes I've ever seen in a TV show, Diane realizes a new purpose for her life, and that maybe her art can bring just as much meaning and joy to people through a fun and lighthearted book. She steps away from using pain as a source of creativity and finds the joy and relief in letting go of all of her preconceptions of what real art should look like. There's certainly a lot to it, and there's so much nuance and humanity to the stories in this show, but I never really forgot this one. It resonated with me a lot in a time where I knew that I just wanted to be an artist so badly, but I didn't really know what that meant yet. I had to fight a lot to get there, the sort of fight that put me in really difficult situations and made me sacrifice a lot of things in the supposedly best years of my life, my 20s. And still, I look around trying to find the meaning of things and being scared of how everything is changing so fast, still realizing that some struggles will never leave, but I only got to where I am today by moving away from the tortured artist mindset, by learning more about myself, finding the compassion for myself I only had for others, and genuinely nurturing the person I was before the artist that I wanted to be. Chapter 5. Art is Human. Okay, so after all that, art and self-expression seem to be very complicated and just heavy things to get into. But I'd wager that it's actually really simple. If you like to draw the characters you love just for fun, if you like writing down your thoughts and making them rhyme, if you like to make fun beats in your bedroom when you're bored, you're expressing yourself through art. It's something that throughout your entire existence on this planet, no one can ever take away from you, because art is human. It's intention, it's connection, it's meaning and purpose. So please remember that beneath everything that has shaped the world so far, the internet, social media, politics, trends, information overload, machine learning, and so on, it's very reasonable to feel overwhelmed with no power or importance. It's very easy to get sucked into content consumption, content creation, and good old-fashioned nihilism. But if there is anything I want you to take with you today, It's that at any time you can choose to unplug yourself from the rest of the world and just make art. It's not easy. Many of us don't have as much available time to do it. Many are left discouraged from other people's words and opinions. But at the end of the day, if there's something you love that you want to do and explore, you can. It's not about the materials you use, and it's definitely not about your skills. You can get better materials later on, you can improve your skills with time, but art is for everyone. If you've ever created something that has made someone else feel something, you've made it. And since your art is made up of who you are, try not to get too distracted with what's around you. Don't look around, but rather look inside. Our best work comes from our best selves.